Welcome to the On Deck channel. This episode is dealing with all things pertaining to double braided lines. There is a rep from Ronstan. His name is Ben Moon, and he comes and talks to one of the co-owners of the Yacht Rigger, Stephen Lloyd, and they just go into a full-blown nerd out about these sailing lines and about double braided line. Also, let me know if you guys have any questions that is not somehow addressed in this video. Let me know what you guys think of content like this. I don't want to delay. Go ahead and roll it.
So today we are joined by Ben Moon from Ronstan, and they are the US and Caribbean distributors for Rogueline.
Yep, and Australasia.
And Australasia. So we are big fans of the line, as we've talked about in previous videos, but we wanted to get Ben in here today to talk to us a little more about some specifics on it, because I know I fumbled my way through a couple of descriptions when I was doing it myself. And so we had a couple questions. For instance, people were asking about the different braids on lines and why those braids are done that way, and just wanted to get some more detail on from you regarding the different materials that we have here. So I guess if we start at the very beginning, we could start to kind of focus on the Orion, which is how many plat double? It's a 16 plat.
The Orion is got a 16 plate polyester cover with a polyester core. So most brands out there, that's their staple in a double braid, is a 16 plate polyester with polyester. Most people say, polyester is just, it's all created equal, but it's actually not. The beauty about the Orion product is that it's good quality polyester will have a lot of core in it, so it'll stay round, it'll feel a lot firmer.
Sure.
Off the spool than say a cheaper product.
We've definitely seen some that seem to have some either flat spots in it over time and or will start to deform and look almost twisted relatively quickly. So maybe a product of not enough core is
correct. That's usually the case. So so that's your standard 16 braid.
Right. And does 16 braid make the line softer, more flexible?
It's definitely a better handle. It's kind of softer. So usually sort of reserve this for sort of sheets or any sort of general products like reefing lines, that kind of stuff.
Traveler control lines.
Exactly. It's a really good control line type product. Up to sheets, but once you start moving to halyards and stuff, there is a compromise if you don't want to go to a technical fibered product. And that's where Rogueline has the Cirrus. Cirrus steps up, it's got a 24 braided cover. So it's a little tighter off the spool, stays again really round. What is really nice about the 32 braided cover is that it's a lot more durable than a 16 braid. So 16 braid's really good for applications where, again, general lines we talk about, but if you've got a product that's starting to go through clutches, or you're going to need it in an area that, particularly winches in particular, if you're starting to use this in a more loaded sheet application, the 32 braid just gives it that little bit more strength in the cover. So you tend to find that most lines will wear out just due to abrasion and overusage, and this will just last a little bit longer. Also is a good halyard material if, we don't always recommend polyester as a halyard material, but once you go to a 32 braid cover, it is a little bit more stable, but you would obviously have to go up in a diameter versus, say, a Dynamo type
to
product.
avoid stretch.
Exactly. But on a cruising boat, sometimes people like that. So
we've had pretty good results actually. using this for general halyards on cruising boats and particularly reefing lines because of the abrasion resistance. That's been a big one for us.
The other thing with the Cirrus is that it and with the 32 braid is, most products, even in polyesters, most of their strength is reliant on the core and the weave in the core. It's about 50% cover to 50% core, so it does become, by diameter, it is going to be a stronger product. A lot of people don't see this a lot. Rogueline really brought it to market, and it's become a staple in our line. And just because of the mottled cover color and stuff, a lot of people look at it and don't they're just so used to looking at a very sort of traditional double braid, not realizing that this is also 100% polyester product.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and they're not paying the premium for, say, having Dyneema in the core.
Exactly.
Which is a huge benefit, obviously, for a cruising boat that doesn't have a unlimited race budget.
Yeah, exactly. So again, 32 plate, abrasion resistant, so it's going to last longer.
Stronger.
Still really nice and strong. So if you want to use a sheet, and can be used in halyards if you're prepared to go up diameter. So.
Right, and I think it's a good 30-40% stronger, size for size, for something like Orion, I think. I don't have it in my head, but
it's
something
about
like that.
Correct.
I know it's significant. When we check the size numbers.
Yep. So in the past there would be, a polyester, and your next step was, quite a technical product.
Yep.
Companies did start to try to fill that gap by blending products with the polyester, so Technoras and that kind of stuff. So again, it's trying to keep cost out, but trying to make a product a little bit better. So two ways you can do it is through weave and through material.
Right.
So that is a good segue to the next step up from Rogueline. So the Globe Pro and Globe in general, shortened to Globe, what we refer to, is a really good compromise. Basically, Rogueline sort of led the market going back about 3 or 4, maybe 5 years now, where we started to develop a product with a core. It's the UHMWPE, which is ultra high modulus weighted polyethylene.
Okay.
So the most well-known products out there is produced by a company called DSM Dyneema. So you probably hear the word Dyneema. Dyneema was basically a replacement for Spectra, which was a DuPont, I think, product going back 20 plus years ago. So if you hear Spectra or Dyneema, that's usually the two.
And effectively, that's plastic. It's plastic.
It's
in
a
the form,
plastic,
right?
correct.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't realize that.
Correct.
I think.
But then within the DSM range, they had different levels. But basically, people were taking these products, they were blending them with a little bit of Dyneema, a little bit of Technora, a little bit of, to try to increase the longevity and the strength and stuff like that.
Yep.
But DSM did have in their back catalogue an industrial product, a DSM SK38. So Rogueline took that and started to make cores out of it.
Yep.
And found that it was far better than any sort of blended product.
Right.
Not as good as the SK78, but still a very, very good product. Yeah. So for the same sort of price point as a blended product, we were now able to produce a fully full Dyneema branded core in SK38, and it was a very good product. Now this year, the new product from the replacement from the Globe 5000 is now our Globe Pro, which, don't let the name fool you, it is very much a product that was developed for the cruising market. They have gone and replaced the DSM SK38 core with their own core called RobTech, which is their own UHM WPE. It's a mouthful. That is testing very similar to SK.
So kind of an equivalent to the 38.
Actually, equivalent almost to the 78.
Oh, wow.
So,
awesome.
For the same price level as what we were previously doing, the Globe 5000, the Globe Pro has really sort of stepped up.
Performance step up for the same price point.
Correct.
So
correct.
Awesome. We'll have to do some stretch tests on the wall just to see what the the difference is. It'd be very interesting.
It would definitely be interesting. So the Globe and the Globe Pro, just fantastic all-round products. They're at a really good price point. They've got a really good mixture of colours and colour palettes.
And good for things like halyards. We use them for reef lines too. Primarily halyards and reef lines.
Any sort of high load application, and again, even though it's only 24 versus 32 of the Orion, because of the stiffness of the core, it really stiffens up the jacket and is actually still a very low abrasive sort of line in comparison to, say, the Orion.
Sure. So it's pretty tough.
It is.
Exactly. And that's what we find too, for sure.
Exactly. So winches, clutches, certain areas that through the jaws of
Turning
self-tailing
blocks,
winches,
deck organizers.
turning blocks.
Yep.
So so again, it makes an incredibly good and cost-effective halyard material.
Something we've noticed for sure is the ease of restriction or the minimization of the barrier for entry. For a lot of people, they've priced the Dynamo halyard and they've seen these just insane price jumps from the basic stuff up to the more advanced stuff. And then when we price them on Globe, they generally are pleasantly surprised. They're like, oh, actually, I can afford a Dynamo halyard.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, a Dynamo cord product is going to last longer over time because the strength in the core, obviously you're talking now like 80 or 90% strength in the core. The covers, or even more, the cover's really not there for strength at all. It's just polyester, but the cores really like step up in the strength level. The other good thing is that the cores are all fully coated. So it does, especially if you're going through through clutches and stuff there, if there's any sort of movement with the core, that can also cause issues with the cover.
That makes sense.
Usually it's not the core that causes an issue, it's the cover so having good cover to core adhesion and a good cover material is
just adds to the
pretty
life.
important. Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
that makes sense.
Then I suppose the step up from that while we're here.
The next level up would be...
So to try to stay sort of in line with what we were discussing with these ones, the main thing with the Admiral Dynamo, it is back at a DSM SK78 core. This is sort of our flagship product. Really low stretch. The Globe's way closer to this than, say, the Cirrus or any polyester product or any blended product, which is what you tend to see in this sort of price range out there. It's a lot closer than it's ever been, but this is still a superior product. But the real difference between, say, the Admiral 5000 and the Globe Pro is the core material's SK78. It's fully coated as per the Globe Pro, but the weave is still 16 braid in the core, but it's just a little longer. So so the fibers are more in line. So it's going to be a little. So
there's less, for the people who understand that, there's less way for the fibers to mechanically elongate in their lay.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So constructional stretch. So there's two types of stretch. One is fiber. The fibers, when they stretch, called creep, and one's constructional stretch. So
and that's the strands laying closer together and forming tighter.
Exactly. So if you weave a more open, they're gonna allow it to pull a little bit tighter. But if they're woven a little more parallel, and we're talking fraction, if you actually visually looked at them, you probably couldn't tell the difference, but a good rope manufacturer would, and
can see that.
Exactly. Yeah. So basically, we're pretty proud at Rogueline, and I hope you guys are too. We've just got a very good, neat range that
it covers a lot. If we line them all up here,
from left to right, so we've got a 16 braid polyester Orion.
Good for sheets and everyday applications.
Everyday applications. Then we got the 32 plate Cirrus, which is good for, again, sheets and larger diameter halyards. And
reefing lines,
that kind of stuff.
High chafe,
Globe 5000, which is now replaced by Globe Pro, which is just a really good value everything line, but really good for cruising boats for halyards, or we see even some club race level people using these for halyards and stuff without any sort of issues. And then obviously the Admiral 5000, which is the premium of our
the higher end, top end halyard material. If someone wants to go down a size, I know we deal with that sometimes. If someone just wants to say have a 10 mil halyard where they had a 14 mil before, we're very comfortable saying absolutely. As long as your clutch will hold it, we can put Admiral in there and not stress in the slightest.
Exactly.
Or if they just want absolutely no stretch.
Yep.
Like a hardcore racer.
Exactly. Yep.
I hope you guys enjoyed that deep dive looking into all things rope and line on a boat. Really appreciate Ben Moon for him giving his time to put this video together and help inform all of us out there in the cruising world about, there's more to rope, like everything, right? There's more than meets the eye on this kind of stuff. Thank you for watching this episode. If you find the content helpful, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Sailor Smurf out.